Check. 1, 2. I'll bet you have sound now. Okay. Oh, man, this has been a heck of a day. So the first 10 minutes, there's sound. Okay, we're here. We were just checking on you. We were just checking to see if you were paying attention. And you said we have no sound. Now we should have sound. So it was on your side. That's right. Yeah. Where's that sound?
Hi, Mike.
Somebody just started to call me. I don't know. I think it was my girlfriend. Let me see here. Ah, it was. She was calling to say we had no sound, I'm sure. Ha! I caught you. Anyway, so we have sound now. What can
Hi,
you...
Mike.
Hi! It's good to see you. We gonna start the show all over again?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, now you'll get them.
Now I know what they are.
The first one is Erin Moretti. Morinardi. She's the one from The Boys.
I forgot already.
Oh, okay. She where was it? Jeez, where is it? Where's she at? There she is. 31. We also did Tom Cruise. Do you remember that one?
Let me see if I remember that. 63.
Yes. How about Jan Smithers from WKRP in Cincinnati?
Jan Smithers would be 78.
She is 76. That's within the period of time. Larry David, you know who he is because he did the I forget what show. Wow, this is like a revisit. He was a guy that worked with Seinfeld and had Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I don't remember.
78. Then we have Margot Robbie.
He was 78.
Margot Robbie. She did. She was Harley Quinn in the Batman series.
Don't remember either.
She is 35. Then we have Lindsay Lohan. I guess I can just back these up.
39.
She is 39. Exactly right. I can't believe how, boy, you're smart today. There's Lindsay Lohan. And then we've got Ricky Gervais.
No, I don't remember Ricky.
You have a bad memory, don't you?
Yeah.
64.
I remember some, but not others.
I bet you remember this next one. June Lockhart.
100.
Holy cow, she's right. She's 100 years old. Mindy Kaling. She's a little Indian girl that was on the Office, and she writes a lot. She writes a lot of stuff.
I don't remember.
46. Jimmy J.J. Walker.
78.
Hey, you got it. Jeff Cohen. He was Chunk on, what did I say that was? On the Goonies.
See, if I don't know him, I don't remember him.
Yeah, I wouldn't know him either. There's Mindy Kaling. And there's J.J. Walker. And there's Jeff Cohen. Jeff Cohen is 51. Erin Moriarty is the one that was. Hold on, that's not her. Where's she at? There she is. She was in The Boys. Come on, you got it. 31.
I don't remember.
All right.
31.
Now we're back on track here. The next guy, I think you won't remember his name till I tell you what he did. Peter Weller.
Yeah.
Now he was, get ready for this one. In the 80s, they had all kinds of futuristic movies, and if I'm not mistaken, he was RoboCop. I'm going to see if
okay, if he was in the 80s, it'd be 75.
78. So that's within the time frame. Let's see if we got. I think it's him though. I just want to see.
Lost sound, boy.
What? Hello, we're back. We should be back.
You're back.
Yeah, yeah. Because what happened was I saw that they went off too, and that's a problem with the output. Yeah, that's him. That's him. He was RoboCop. Next person, Kevin Bacon.
I know who he is, but 62.
He's 67.
Wow.
Angelica Houston. I didn't get a chance to see if I knew her or not because I didn't do my homework. I wanted to. Angelica Houston. That's what it was. Well, we're going to find out where she is. There she is. Oh, that's not who I thought it was.
Come in.
Oh,
No.
oh, she's playing Mrs. Adams. No, that can't be her. That's not her. That's definitely not her because she can't be that age. Well, anyway, she's 74. And lastly, Will Smith's son, Jaden Smith.
27.
He is. You got that one right on the head there. All right, that's it. Next week we'll have them with pictures and everything, and I'll have you set up so you can see everything like you used to. All right, the phone number is wrong. What phone number is wrong? Oh, I don't know. Anyway, all right. So the next thing. All right, so the big news of the week was Diddy Combs got found guilty of transportation to engage in prostitution, was acquitted of sex. Wait, okay. So did you hear this? It says here, disgraced rapper and mogul Sean Diddy Combs was found guilty of transportation to engage prostitution, but was acquitted of sex trafficking and racketeering conspiracy. The more serious charges in the case, and what federal prosecutors spent 6 weeks trying to prove to the jury, but to no avail. On Wednesday, the foreman of the 12-person jury read their decision on the verdict after deliberating over 12 hours and decided that the government's argument that he was the center of a criminal enterprise through the company he founded and he was CEO was not used for nefarious purposes that ultimately led to trafficking charges of multiple women. So
He got out of the big charge.
that sucks because that guy is guilty as can be, and he really, I just don't understand. I just don't get it. It says the New York judge overseeing Combs' federal sex trafficking and racketeering trial ruled that Combs would not be released on bail while awaiting sentencing. So
he's probably going to get time served
if he gets off. So after the verdict was read on Wednesday, Combs' lead attorney told the court that the client would be free to right away, given that he was no longer under indictment for the major crimes the government said that he committed. Prosecutors cried foul on this, arguing he was a flight risk and meddler. Even while in Brooklyn lockup, he's home for about a year. So I just, I don't even know what to think of that. I thought for sure he was going to go away for a while. But on another article, it talks about, let me see here, that celebrity Me Too cases are proving hard to convict, which is probably true. So if Weinstein was tried today, he would have gotten away with it.
He might get off.
Yeah. So it's kind of weird to think that has just turned the other way. And all the people that were anti-Diddy are probably going to feel his wrath, I would imagine. So I just don't get it. I don't. They should definitely put him away for at least beating that girl while in the. But then again,
I can see that. That is out of the statute of limitations.
Oh. Well, that's weird. I don't know. I just don't understand. Says the prosecutor made a bold prediction during her closing argument. For 20 years, the defendant got away with his crimes. That ends in the courtroom, declared the U.S. Attorney Maureen Comey last week. in the government's case versus Diddy Combs. It's time to hold him accountable. The defendant is not a god. Perhaps not, but Combs is a massive celebrity, and what's becoming increasingly apparent is that celebrity Me Too cases, whether criminal or civil, are intensely difficult to win when up against a big name. I just don't get it. I really don't get it.
Well, our old buddy Alec Baldwin got off too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he killed somebody. So I don't know. It just seems really strange that he got away with this. And I don't know what's going to happen as far as the cases go. I mean, all the things against him, but if they're only going to hold him for beating up the woman or whatever, that's not going to be very long. The court didn't do, I don't know if they just didn't do the work or what happened there, but it just really seems strange. I don't know.
So,
yeah, but I wouldn't want to be his enemies when he gets out, because he's going to be going after him. You know he is. So, all right, let's see here. Let's get rid of the rest of the Diddy stuff. Whoops, I hit the button. I didn't mean to do that. Oh, Robocop. Didn't mean to do that. Got all kinds of weird things going on here. Says here, Hollywood music industry figures including 50 Cent, Aubrey O'Day, and Keisha took to social media to react to the shocking news, the verdict of Sean Combs' sex trafficking and racketeering. I'm floored by the jury's verdict, O'Day said. The evidence is there. For me, it's all the way there. Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, a longtime rival of Diddy, took to Instagram to share his thoughts. Diddy beat the Rico, the boy that boy a bad man, he wrote, adding, he like a gay John Gotti. Oh, man. This is so weird. I just can't. Now, the question is, if he gets, when he gets out of jail, I don't know if he's out yet, but is there a career? Is he still going to be able to go out there and make music? You think people will buy it?
Yeah.
I mean, I can't speculate. I mean, weirder things have happened, but, and there's always the people that are the rebels that would support him. But, since you've always had bad boys.
Women wanted to marry Charles Manson. So.
Yeah, I will never, ever understand
There's
that.
a group of people out there that think he's a hero because
he offered free baby oil to not be convicted. I don't know what. Oh, man. I just think it's weird. It's just so weird that he got away with all that. And that's going to be a kick to Cassie Ventura's life, thinking she got beat bad and that's it, I just think it's weird. Okay, let's see if there's anything else in this article. And Kid Cudi, or whatever his name is, man, he'll probably go after him too, because he was one of the people that talked bad about him. So I don't know how long he was in jail for. At least a year, right?
He's been in jail over a year.
Yeah. Jeez. I don't know. I wonder how much money he spent on that trial. Had to be lots of money. I don't know. But it is what it is, and there's I don't know. There's just I can't imagine there being less justice than that. But who knows?
He may do some time because there were 4 counts. He got convicted on 3 lesser ones.
Yeah.
He got off on the big one, the one that would have put him in jail for News.
Yeah, that's really sad. All right. Anyway, all right. So on to I'd say happier things, but next couple things are not going to be that happy. Trump. I know we're going to talk about Trump today, so I'm just putting it right out front there. Trump will host a UFC title fight at the White House. Did you hear about this?
Yeah, I heard about it.
Why?
On the 250th birthday.
But that's not something I would want to see at the White House. There would be so many security people, and there would be, I don't know, it just wouldn't be interesting to me. I'd be all uptight, all these security guys. I don't know. I think it's risky for him too. But I mean, I don't know. Not really sure what his idea is to do that. It's not like he can be thought of as an everyday guy, Just really strange. I just thought that was bizarre.
He loves sporting events. He loves sporting events, and he loves fighting.
Well, I'm sure there's no other president that's done that too. That's the weirdest thing. I mean, it'd be, I guess, I don't know. He was friends with Vince McMahon too, so I would be surprised if he didn't. I mean, I would have thought that he would do a WWE event before he would do that. Anyway, yeah, so they're going to have 250 celebrities. Oh no, I'm sorry, 200. Yeah, America's. Oh, I'm sorry, it was 250th anniversary of the. Oh, is it really the 250th anniversary?
Yes.
Oh, we have the 200.
Yes.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Well, that's different. Not really, but still. I just think it's really weird to think of the White House as. I mean, I guess it's big enough. It's a pretty big place, so I just wouldn't have thought about doing that. Dana White is expected to reveal more on the event soon. It's a weird one, but hey, when you're president, you get what you want usually. Well, not everything you want. So, all right, now the serious stuff. I just got this before the show started. That's just because I'm behind on everything. There is a new tariff goalposts. The U.S. is set to impose 25% blanket tariff on all imports from Japan and South Korea effective August 1st, according to the announcement made. They also disclosed rates of 12 other countries, including Malaysia, 25%, Kazakhstan, 25%, South Africa, 30%, Bangladesh at 35%, Laos, 40%, Myanmar, 40%. The upcoming measures were communicated through formal letters to the country's leaders, which Trump shared on social media. Trump also signed an executive order delaying so-called reciprocal tariffs on dozens of countries from tomorrow to August 1st. The tariffs had initially been postponed from April to July to give countries more time to negotiate agreements. The U.S. has so far reached deals with the UK and Vietnam, as well as preliminary framework with China. So here is the tariff tracker. Hold on. Here we go. Here we go. I didn't know there was a tariff tracker. So scroll to explore. Okay, let's see. Hold down and control and zoom. Okay. Oh, okay. This Brazil is going to be 10%. What do we buy from Brazil?
Coffee for one.
Oh, okay. I guess he drinks a lot of coffee. Mexico, 25. Let's see, Canada, 25. China, 30. So is each country in, okay, so each country in Africa seems to be 10%. Yeah. Actually, there's a lot of 10%. I'm guessing all these are 10%. Yeah. All the light pink are 10%. Huh. Well, at least we got a deal going. We got something
The
going.
prices, that means prices are going up
Yeah, but I mean,
because Amazon, Kroger, and Weiss, and Walmart aren't going to eat all that tariff.
right.
They're going to pass it on to consumers.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. What do you
I mean, a lot of money is going to come into the government, but it's going to cost the consumer money.
as it always does.
He's trying to get them to do a deal,
Okay.
and it isn't working as they thought it was going to work.
Like what kind of deal you?
Countries are they're trying to get fair trade. See, people have been taking advantage of the U.S. for years,
Yes.
and Trump is trying to change that. Only these countries aren't buckling like people thought they would buckle. They're
Okay.
holding out. They're not trying. They don't want to change the status quo.
Well,
And, so the government coffers are going to enlarge. A lot of money is going to come into the government to pay down debt. At the same time, though, prices for individuals when they go to the grocery store are going to increase.
yeah.
So our debt's going to go down, but individual prices are going to go up.
Okay.
Because Walmart has already said they're not using 25%.
Right.
The
Well,
grocery store's profit margin is like 1.6%. They can't afford to eat it.
wow. Yeah, that would be a problem.
So that would be a problem. So Trump thought people would be begging the United States to take the tariffs off, and they're not. I still think it's a good gamble, but this is the reality: is consumer pricing is going to go up.
But is like,
No, good thing is like steel now. It's going to be cheaper to buy American steel and aluminum than in lumber. It's going to be cheaper to buy American lumber than it is to buy other countries' lumber. But we don't manufacture that much.
right. Yeah. In fact, the steel mill, I think, is closed now in Bethlehem.
It's completely closed, yes.
Yeah, and they just close another one of their didn't the I'm trying to remember if I read that they closed another one of their steel mills. I don't know. I just I guess it really depends what the like if like for instance these people that are that we're talking about that are 10% tariffs. What were they before? I mean, we didn't get any money before, but what were we charged before?
No, zero.
Okay.
They could come into the United States and sell their product at discounted prices, and nothing would happen.
Okay.
So what they're trying to do is trying to bring manufacturing and factory jobs back to the United States, because that would build the middle class. Give good paying jobs to the middle class.
And the farmers.
The theory is excellent.
Yeah.
In practice, it's not working the way he wants it to.
Yeah. Yeah, this is probably taking a lot longer.
Then you have the private work.
Oh, wait a minute. I may have been on the wrong thing here. I pushed currently in effect, and then there's pending. Ah,
It's not going into effect until August 1st.
okay. So, all right. So there's parts of like Algeria's 30%. not 10%. It's 10 now. It'll be 30%. Libya will be 31%. It's 10% now. And okay, so I didn't realize that I didn't hit the right button. So,
Everybody's 10% now
yeah,
across the board.
that's why. Okay. For China, it says 145%. It's
Right.
probably not going to be that, I would imagine.
No, because that would be that in Vietnam and the Philippines and Indonesia is where 90% of our clothes are made.
Right. Wow. That's a big undertaking, man. I'm telling you. And it's even if he did it and made out, people are not going to understand what he's done.
No, it's a very complex thing.
Yeah.
All people are going to know is when they walk into Walmart to buy food, it's going to be more expensive tomorrow, August 1st, than it is today.
Yeah.
And when they buy clothing, that T-shirt that costs $19 now will cost $24 then.
Right.
And that's what they're going to know. They're not going to know that Trump's trying to bring manufacturing back into the United States and make it fair trade. They're not going to know that. They're just going to know that their money is not stretching what it used to.
Okay.
Because people don't follow these.
Well, I mean, it's really hard to follow this particular thing because there's so many different countries involved, and I mean, it's much more complicated than most of us can follow it. So yeah, that's a mess. Okay, so then let's do some movies. That's a little lighter. Jurassic World Rebirth. They targeted $133 million U.S. opening. They got a worldwide of $322.6 million on Jurassic World. I'd say it did all right.
It did all right?
Yeah, you don't see too many openings of that. I mean, we've seen a lot of them lately, though. We've seen lately a resurgence in the box office, and I got to say that makes me feel pretty good. It's nice starting to do good. This article is from what day is this article from? This was done before. This is July 4th, so this is before the big weekend. So it says Jurassic World continues, and it said 137. They expected a domestic of 137 million for the 5-day weekend, and including the 2 million for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It really did well. It did. I mean, you're talking $322 million. That's crazy. That was what I saw as of, I think, today. So they did well. They definitely stomped on that. They were looking at 260 million earlier, and then they pumped it up to 322. So they're doing all right. And and also Brad Pitt's F1 that he opened says it's the highest grossing Apple produced theatrical film ever, and it did 300 million. That's just crazy numbers. Those are the numbers that we saw pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID.
Yeah, so we're seeing a resurgence, and they're not even getting my money. So that shows something. Because I used to go every week, and I used to see at least 2 movies a week. So they did all right. And this one had Scarlett Johansson. I don't know the other 2 people. Mahershala Ali and Jonathan Bailey. They did really well though. I think it was a whole new cast too, where they didn't bring anybody back. So pretty cool. I like to see movies take that big jump. They're saying that all 3 Jurassic World picks, which made up their own trilogy, all grossed near $1 billion globally, and all opened higher than Rebirth domestically. So at the same time, the latest film cost less to produce, or 180 million before marketing is what it cost to make that So that film's off to a strong start. I think Spielberg's happy, and
He might have $1 or two.
I would imagine he'll probably be able to go to the movies himself with that.
Yeah.
Then we got
popcorn.
Yeah, maybe even a drink. Won't have to smuggle the drinks in. Get ready for more commercials at the movie theaters. So they're gonna, instead of how you get there, it's supposed to be a 5 o'clock showing and it doesn't start till 5:15. Well, now it's not gonna start till 5:20 because they're gonna throw in more commercials, or maybe 5:30. I think they're gonna throw in 2 more commercials. So it's funny, you go to a movie to not necessarily see commercials, but now you're going to see commercials. And, all right. Then, Fear Factor. Do you remember that movie or that show?
Yes.
They're going to have a new Fear Factor, and it's called Fear Factor: The Next Generation, or The Next Chapter. It's going to premiere this fall, 2025 to 2026 season, and they have a new host. They have a host by the name of Johnny Knoxville from Jackass. That's a good guy to have, because if you say, no, I won't do it, he'll call you a funny name. Because he would do it. He's done some really stupid things in his life. So I'm actually interested to see what they do. Joe Rogan was the last host. And actually the host from 2006, and then in 2011 and 2012, and then Ludacris was doing the MTV version of Fear Factor from 2017 to 2018. I don't know. I couldn't do that. I mean, I could host it, but there's no way I would ever be on that show.
In our youth groups, we used to do Fear Factor all the time.
Really? What kind of things did you make them do?
Like worms in a bucket, and you had to eat them. Let things crawl on you. Bring in a snake, non-poisonous snake, and let it crawl on you.
No. I have a story about that. When I was in 3rd grade, we had show and tell, and I said, oh, that would be cool to do. My brother was into snakes, and he used to catch snakes. So he caught a snake and he was in, if I was in 3rd grade, he was in 5th grade. So he brought a snake in for my show and tell. And so he brings it in, and I started talking about the snake, and all of a sudden I saw the snake grab me by the wrist, and I was freaking out a little bit, because I was not a very brave person. I didn't die from it, though. That's the important thing. So, but anyway, that was probably one of the only things that I did with my brother. That
I'm sure it was none.
No, I died that day, later on that day. So they didn't have a ceremony for me. So I had
That's why you look like you look.
Oh, it is the way it is. Okay. I'm sure you heard about this, but we'll talk about it anyway. Musk decided he was going to form a third political party.
The American Party.
Yeah. That's kind of an interesting thing. Boy, they really did split apart there, huh?
They really did.
I wasn't sure if it was real or not, because you can't believe anything nowadays. And
well, it's going to be pro free speech, pro gun, pro Second Amendment, pro having more children, pro AI, and pro cryptocurrency, among other issues, which have been unnamed.
I mean,
third parties have a hard time.
I know, but he's just crazy enough that he could pull it off. Wouldn't that be wild?
He's wealthy enough.
Mm-hmm.
Their aim is to get 5 or 6 House seats and 2 or 3 Senate seats.
Okay.
first go around.
Okay.
That's their goal.
I mean,
And to make the Democrats and Republicans compromise.
well, here's the deal. We've talked about this numerous times about how both sides have things that are good, except that they're all so one way or the other that we might actually find interest in a third party because I don't want to be that far left or that far right. I want to be right down in the middle where the real people are. And I think
For
that would,
most people.
yeah, that would be interesting. And if he pulls this off, man, there could be changes in the government that could be very helpful. Instead of everybody,
Well, that's what he's.
yeah,
And he did it because of the big beautiful bill passing.
yeah. So do you want to talk about that a little bit? I mean,
Sure.
explain what the big beautiful bill is and why it's good and
There's
why it's
two.
bad.
All right. There's two main parts of it that are talked about a lot.
Okay.
The first one was increase that taxes are being cut for billionaires.
Yes.
There are no tax cuts. It's an extension of the tax cuts of 217. No new tax cuts are in there, except there's no tax on tips, no tax on some Social Security, and no tax on overtime.
Okay.
The top tax bracket is exactly the same, 38%. Did you know that 40% of Americans pay no income tax?
No.
60% of Americans pay everything.
Okay.
Okay, that makes it difficult when 60% are paying for 40%. It makes it difficult. The income taxes bring in $5 trillion a year. The trouble is, and this is what Trump is mad. The trouble is we spend 7.5 trillion each year.
Okay.
We spend $2.5 trillion more each year than we bring in.
Okay.
That's why Trump is mad.
So how do
He
we
wants to cut taxes,
fix that?
cut the government.
Which he was trying to
And
do.
here's one thing they did. Here's one thing they did. We are not cutting anybody off of Medicaid. You know what Medicaid is?
Yes.
Medicaid is the free health service.
Yes.
It's the government-run health service for people who don't have health.
Right.
Okay? There are 9 million people that are able-bodied people that could work and earn a living, but they're on the roll. All the president is asking them to do is work 20 hours a week, look for work 20 hours a week, or volunteer at a charity 20 hours a week. They can keep their Medicaid. No one's being thrown off.
Okay.
That would save 1.3 trillion over 10 years.
Wow.
1 million people out of 350 million people are on benefits in this country. We're becoming a welfare state. 40 out of 50 states have no requirements for Medicaid.
Okay. I was
That
on it.
means that a drug.
I was on it for a little while when I just lost my job and just like I had a lot of health problems and that's before I could get my retirement. So I was on it for a couple years. I was on it for like 3 years.
All they would ask you to do is look for work.
I was working. Oh, well, no, I wasn't. I wasn't working for those years. That's right. I wasn't working those years. I was
But
trying.
you had a legitimate medical. The people with legitimate medical issues are not being cut off.
Okay.
I went to treatment on Medicaid.
Okay. It's good
I
that
went to treatment once when I was 25 or 26 years old. I went to treatment on Medicaid.
Huh.
That's legit. Those things aren't being stopped. It's people that have no reason why they're not working.
Yeah.
And they were brought into the rolls by the Democrats,
Hmm.
expanding Medicaid. And all Trump's doing is not kicking them off. All he's saying is volunteer, look for work, or work 20 hours a week.
Yeah.
That's all.
Only 20 hours. That's not much.
Bill Clinton did that with welfare.
Okay.
There is a work requirement, a volunteer requirement, and a look for work requirement for welfare
Okay.
for men, especially. No different from Medicaid. Now, we are up 113% in 10 years.
Hmm.
10 years. Oh, the other thing that happened is the hospitals aren't going to like this because the hospitals get no money when someone without health insurance walks into an emergency room. They have to be treated.
Okay.
Medicaid used to give them so much money.
Right.
If the 9 million people refuse to volunteer, refuse to look for a job, and refuse to work, they're going to get thrown off. And then the hospitals are going to have to treat them for free.
Mm.
So hospitals are really opposed to this thing.
Yeah.
The other thing is that states were charging a tax at 6.5%
Wow.
for each dollar that they gave a hospital or a doctor's office. They were charging the federal government 6.5% tax. This bill caps it at 3.5%. They're
Okay.
losing 2.5%. They're not happy. So the states aren't happy, and the hospitals aren't happy,
Wow.
and the progressives aren't happy who want universal government-run health insurance. They're not happy.
Right.
But people who work for a living are happy.
Yeah.
People that work for a living say, why should I be paying for someone who does not want to work
And could work. Yes. Yes.
and could work?
Yes.
Why should I be paying for their health care?
I absolutely agree with that. In fact, when the last time I was in the hospital, um, I didn't have regular health insurance. I had Medicaid at that point. Um, my bill would have been like $30,000, more than that, I think. It's like 30 some $1,000. Where does a person come up with 30 some $1,000 if they don't? I'm thankful.
The hospital will have to eat that
Yeah.
because people won't work.
Yeah. But I'm thankful that I had Medicaid at that point, and because that's just
But
that's
that's what it's for. That's what it's for. It's for people who have medical or mental health issues. It's for people that have short-term disability issues. And it's for people who have disabilities. It's not for people who can work for a living.
right. Yeah.
But
Well,
Trump's not throwing them off. He's just saying volunteer 20 hours a week.
yeah. 20 hours is
And
nothing.
I'm telling you, I had people coming to me all the time in the Salvation Army looking to volunteer so that they could get welfare.
Wow.
I had more people coming that I could put on the roll.
Well,
But, they were looking because they wanted welfare. Why do you need welfare? Because I'm sick or I'm a drug addict and I can't get off drugs. There's reasons
right.
why people can't work. All they have to do is volunteer. It's not that tough to volunteer. People are crying for volunteers all over.
Yeah. Well,
It's hard to get working people to volunteer. See, it used to be that men worked and women were at home.
right.
And women could volunteer after the kids were at a certain age. Women could volunteer. That's not the case anymore. Getting volunteers is a very hard thing to do.
Hmm.
Asking someone to volunteer 20 hours a week helps people. It helps charity.
Sure. Sure.
So I don't think it's such a terrible thing. Now, if I was a hospital, I'd be tipped off.
Yeah.
I would be. I could see that. I understand that. But they're lying about the bill. Now, is the bill perfect? No, no. I follow space exploration, and they have cut NASA budget tremendously. And all these scientists are losing their jobs. All these space engineers are losing their jobs. And they're going over to Japan, and Germany, and Canada, and China. And we're getting a brain injury now. Right? So that's just one example of this budget cut that is hurting something I like.
Yeah.
Everybody is losing something that they like.
Wow.
But we're spending $7 trillion a year, and we're only bringing in $5 trillion. We can't continue to do.
Right. Yes.
Something has to give.
Yeah.
And this is a start of it. So, if this works, that's a good thing. If it doesn't work, the Republicans are in big trouble.
That's, yeah. And the thing is, with this third party, the Democrats don't have anybody at this point. And the Republicans might be burning some bridges in the people's eyes. So this would be the perfect time to have a third party, because somebody's going to want a change. Somebody's going to want to change. The reason they brought Trump in originally was because we wanted a change. We wanted something other than the normal thing that we usually had. And if this doesn't work, this would be a perfect time for a third party to pop in, because nobody likes either side. Everybody's looking for a solution, and we haven't found a solution from either side that we're happy with. Well, some of us.
You have the extreme left.
Yes.
And we have the extreme right.
Right. So now we need the extreme middle.
Yes.
So
we'll see. Tesla stock dropped 7%.
What's it at today?
They announced the third party it dropped 7%.
Yeah, but I think it went back up. I might be wrong about that. It was. Let me take a look and see where we are on that, because it did drop.
Tesla stockholders. Go
ahead. Let's see. 297. So it did drop. It dropped. Well, it says it's up 1.32%. It was at 325. It dropped down to 290 ish, and it's on its way back up. I don't think anybody's gonna. I think we'll be okay. I'm not panicking yet.
Well, evidently stockholders are pretty upset because they wanted Musk out of politics.
Well, it's funny that you should say that. Right before the show started, Elon was having a press conference, and they asked him about. Well, one of the things I asked him about was what he was going to do as far as leaving Tesla to no longer be CEO. He said that's not going to happen. So I don't know if that's good or not, but you know, there's a method to his madness, and he can be pretty crazy with some of the stuff he does. But I think the one thing that the one person said is, "Tell us you're not leaving Tesla," and he said, "No, I'm not leaving Tesla." So my lease is coming up real soon, and I'm waiting for some deals. There's got to be some deals coming. So and that tax credit's going away too. So better be some good deals.
Well, Trump says that's why he's mad at him, because he took the tax credit away.
Trump's mad?
Because Musk is mad at Trump solely because the tax credit went away.
Yeah. But
because he killed all the green tax credits.
Yeah. When I knew
which I don't particularly like either.
Well, I mean, I saw that coming a long way, because when Trump said we're going to open up the pipelines and we don't care about we don't care about the environment and all that stuff. I knew that was going to come
Joe
eventually.
baby, Joe baby, Joe.
Yeah, I knew that was going to come sooner or later. So no one's surprised, I don't think, on that. But yeah, that's crazy stuff, man.
So this bill, just to end this section,
Okay.
this bill is hated by the Democrats and hated by hospitals because it cuts, and Democrats don't want to see any cuts
Yeah.
to anything. They don't want to see. Oh, and the Supreme Court today said that Trump could start cutting federal agencies and massive layoffs. So he now has the authority to downsize government.
Wasn't that what he did with Musk? Wasn't that his idea with Musk, to go in there and find where we're
yeah, but
wasting money?
Judges stopped it. Judges stopped it. Now they can't stop it anymore.
Interesting.
It's a daring, bold move. We'll see if it works.
Yeah. Yeah. And we only got 3 more years to worry about.
Trump is making Trump. See, the nice thing is that he doesn't care. He's not running for re-election.
Yeah.
He doesn't care what people think of him. Yeah.
What's your gut feeling?
If he was running for re-election, he'd be doing things different. But he's not.
What's your gut? What's your gut feeling? What's your gut feeling?
My gut feels is that we're going to be better off in the long run, but the short term is going to be a lot of pain.
Okay.
A lot of pain.
Yeah.
Because prices are going to go up. And one of the reasons he won is because of inflation.
Yes.
And inflation is not going to go away.
No.
With these tariffs.
Yeah. That makes things.
He may win in the long run, but they may lose the House and Senate.
Yeah. In which he.
And then it stops.
In which he doesn't really care, because once he's out, he's out.
He's out.
So. Yeah. Well, we got a nice ride to. It's going to be a roller coaster, but we got a nice ride to go.
It's going to be a roller coaster.
All right. How about the Prince of Darkness? Maybe he can save us. Prince of Darkness. Mm-hmm. Prince of Darkness bids farewell. The end of Ozzy Osbourne. More than 45,000.
He sat in a chair. He sat on a throne.
Yeah. More than 45,000 people turned out in Birmingham, England over the weekend to watch Ozzy Osbourne appear for the final time. And his band with Black Sabbath. 76-year-old Osbourne, who publicly revealed Parkinson's diagnosis in 2020, spent much of the show performing from a large throne adorned with skulls and bats. Considered pioneers of heavy metal music, Osbourne helped launch the Black Sabbath in 1968, releasing 8 albums as its lead vocalist. And known for outrageous stunts, he's infamously once bit off the head of a dead bat, later he thought was fake. Osbourne was fired from the band over substance abuse in '79, and he launched his more successful solo career. He probably became bigger than Black Sabbath, I would imagine, when you look at the numbers. And yeah, and we talked about how many singers they had and how many things, how big, but Black Sabbath still ended up being pretty prominent in that genre. Well, they were the ones that created that genre, and they were the ones that I was listening to this pop music up until then, and then boom, I said, "What is this sound?" And everyone said, "Don't listen to that because it'll make you an evil person. It'll destroy your life. You'll be praising the devil." Never happened, but I did like the sound because it was just so different from everything else, and it changed me from being a pop person to being a rock person. And then we're going to be talking next about which direction I headed. So
yeah.
So we'll be talking about them after this. But then I got two more small things. Then we'll jump into, if you want to, we'll talk about the breaking
Sure.
the band. Joey Chestnut's back in the news. You know who he is, right?
70.5 hot dog.
That's insane. That's insane.
I eat two and I'm done.
I just think that's crazy. This guy, and he's not fat. He's like, what's he doing? He's vomiting or what is it? I don't know how he does that. But 70, 70 and a half hot dogs and buns. You have to have the bun too for his 17th. And they weren't gonna. He was blacklisted from eating those hot dogs too. He was blacklisted from the events, and they just let him back in, and he won again. So I don't know what to think about that. That's if I did that, I'd balloon like crazy. So
Oh my goodness.
could you imagine? I don't even eat 70 hot dogs in a year. Oh man. But yeah, and it says Miko Sudo eats 33 to win her 11th woman's title. What is this world coming to that we're actually encouraging people to overeat like that? Only in the U.S.
Only in the U.S.
And then talk about we said about the Jurassic Rebirth was at 322 million. The global box office of Leo and Stitch, that animated Leo and Stitch movie. Guess where that's at?
Where?
It's 7-week run, $972 million, almost $1 billion. That's freaking insane.
Leo and Stitch.
Yeah, that's a kid's animated movie.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I just
Movies are back, man.
I'm glad because I used to love movies. I may even start going again. I the thing is, okay, so let's talk about just before we get into this other thing. Uh, so my school is up and running. We did a soft launch while I was in Orlando, and we're still on the soft launch because we're still building. We're setting this up. This is going to be really cool. So we have the ring in place. We've got students coming in regularly. We're open Monday through Thursday for training and stuff. We're setting up a video production studio in there so we can do live streaming of our shows. And we're going to potentially rent the place out to other people and record their shows and put them on our live stream. And that's going to be one of our sources of income. This studio is really beautiful. I mean, it still has. We have a lot of work to do on it yet, but we're going to have sponsors. We're going to have a video wall. We're doing this like for real. We're not just putting a ring in a building and saying that's it. We're going higher tech than most places do. And you know that if I'm involved, there's going to be some high tech. But this isn't my high tech. This is my partners. One of my partners that I've known for 20 some years. You think I'm a high tech person? He blows me away. I mean, I have a hard time keeping up with him. But I want to learn to run the equipment that he's putting in. I've donated a giant light board that we're going to run the whole place off of. The light board is $3,600. This I didn't pay $3,600, but that is going to control the whole building, and we can have like you see at WWE shows. I mean, not as techy as that, but it's going to be pretty techy. I don't think there's any place that's going to do what we're going to do. I'm really happy with it. I went out and looked at the building after they put the ring and stuff in, and I was out there last week, and we're going to take this place. There's a buzz about our building. There's a buzz about the people are all talking about it in the wrestling area. So we got something going on. I don't know exactly where it's going to go, but I'm excited about it because this is a big project. I'm scared to death, but it's exciting because I can see the vision of what this could be, and I don't. I'm not the guy that's training. We had a board meeting. We elected our officers, and you're speaking to the president. So
Oh,
we have a CEO. My one partner is the CEO. My other partner is the VP, and our other partner is a VP. So um, I'm real happy with where we're going with this because these guys are working their butts off and they're doing a good job. And some of the names we got that are working in this place are helping drive our business. And yeah, I'm proud of them all. They're actually kicking butt and doing what they got to do. They all see the vision and they know that for us to make this happen, we all got to pitch in and do our stuff. So yeah, we're working on it. I'm real happy. Next time you're in town, I'll take you down. I got the key to the building.
okay.
So I'm real happy with that. So yeah, just let me know when you're coming down because we're going to go see the school. And
That'll work.
yeah, it'll be really, really cool. So, all right, next segment. The band of the week is Judas Priest.
Judas Priest.
Yeah, that they have a great story. Um, when they first came out, I didn't really like them. We did a couple of their songs because it was the thing to do, and I was like, I don't get it. And as I gotten older, I now understand, and I'm glad that I'm glad we're doing some of their songs. Actually, right now, both bands I'm in do Judas Priest stuff. They do different Judas Priest songs, though. I wish it was the same so that I wouldn't have to remember as many songs, but it's good. But the band brought to the world a whole different sound, just like Black Sabbath, a different type of sound. And I mean, they're a real heavy band. They were earlier than I thought they were. They started in 1969, and I never heard of them till probably 1980. They went through a lot of people. One of the pioneers of British heavy metal, and so that was kind of a little. I mean, the type of heavy metal that they were doing was different from Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath was dark and a lot slower and really deep and dark and loud. They were fast and kind of like a power metal, a kind of a thrash metal. And there really wasn't anything like them at the time. So, I mean, they started really hitting it big in 1980. Now, the original singer was not Rob Halford. So they had other singers before that, and they were trying to figure out their way. We all try to do that. They were born. The band was started in '69. Their lead vocalist was Al Atkins, which I never heard of him, and I didn't know anything about him. In fact, I didn't know anything about it till I read this, till we started talking about him. And the bassist was Brian Bruno Steppenhill, and John Perry was on guitar, along with John Feza Partridge on drums. And actually, Rob was singing before he joined his band. He was singing Doris Day in 1973. And I guess I could imagine that. I mean, he's a trained opera singer. I don't know if you know that or not. I don't know if they said that or not.
No.
That's why he can sing that way. And the singers that they had before him, they didn't sing anywhere like him. And so when Perry ended up killing himself, and then they had a bunch of people that were auditioning for the replacement, the future guitarist. That's when Kenneth K.K. Downing came in, and they turned him down in favor of another guitarist, which was funny when you think about it, because he was the main guy when they were when they were playing, that I knew, but he was not the original first choice. Um, they had a 17-year-old Ernest Chataway who played for them, who played with Black Sabbath when they were called Earth. So before Black Sabbath was Black Sabbath, they were called Earth. Do you know where the name Judas Priest came from?
Yes, but I can't remember now because it's been 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know. We're not usually that far behind, but
So,
Bob Dylan had a song called "The Ballad of Frankie Lee and Judas Priest" on the album John Wesley Harding. Partridge was replaced replaced in 1970 by drummer Fred Woolley, who later rejoined Chataway and Staplehill in the band Bullion. No member of that early lineup lasted long enough to play in the band's recordings, though several songs were co-written by Atkins. Appeared on the first two albums. The band recorded a 2-song demo, Good Time Woman and We'll Stay Together, and eventually gained a 3-album recording contract with the label Immediate in 1969 after a gig in Walsall. But the label went out of business before the record could actually be recorded, and the band split in 1970. Later in the year, Atkins found a heavy metal band called Freight, rehearsing without a singer, made up of K.K. Downing on the guitars. His childhood friend Ian Skull Hill, was on bass, and drummer John Ellis. He joined them and took the Atkins defunct band name. Their first gig was May 6, 1971. Ellis quit later that year and was replaced with Alan Moore. Early shows included Jimi Hendrix and Quatermass covers. Now, those back in that day, that would have been the band to cover. I mean, Jimi Hendrix was big at that point in '72. Well, in '72. Now, when did he died in '72, right? I think Hendrix, because that's when. Yeah, I think that's when Joan. What was her name? Joan. No, not Joan.
Janis Joplin.
Janis Joplin. Joplin. Yeah, that's who it was. And the Doors, Jimi Hendrix, all died in that period of time. So let's see here. Moore left and replaced and was replaced with Chris Campbell, and the band joined a management agency of Black Sabbath guitarist Tony Iommi had a management company called Iommi Management Agency. Atkins continued to write material for the band, including Whiskey Woman, which became the base of the Judas Priest staple, Victim of Changes, but his finances were tight. He had family to support. He played his last gigs with the band in 1972. How much do you think he kicked himself in 1972? He left the band in '73. Campbell left soon afterwards, later to surface with the band in the band Machine, and the band enlisted 2 members of the band Hiroshima, the drummer John Hinch and vocalist Rob Halford, who was the brother of Hill's girlfriend. Halford and Hinch played their first show with the band in May of 1973 at the Townhouse in Wellington. Now, I know somebody that knows a lot more about Judas Priest than me, and she's probably listening to the show. So she was a very, very, very Judas Priest fanatic, and that's before I never even thought about this band. Judas Priest made their first continental European tour in early '74 and returned to England that April to sign a recording deal with the label Gull. Gull suggested adding a 5th member to the band's sound. They took a second lead guitarist, Glenn Tipton, whose group, the Flying Hat Band, were also managed by Iommi. '74, Black Sabbath producer Roger Bain. The band released the uh, debut single Rock-a-Rolla that August, and followed that September with the album of the same name. The album features a variety of styles: straight up rock and roll, heavy riffing, and progressive music. Technical problems during the recording contributed to poor sound quality of the recording. Producer Roger Bain, whose resume included Black Sabbath's first three albums and Budgie's first album, dominated the production of the album, and the decision was made, which the band did not agree. Bain also chose to leave fan favorites from the band's live set on it, such as Tyrant and Genocide and The Ripper. From the album, he cut Caviar and Meths, and from a 10-minute song down to a 2-minute instrumental. The tour Rock-a-Rolla was the band's first international tour, with the dates in Germany and the Netherlands, and Norway and Denmark. Says they had a monthly pay of £50. However, because Gull Records was struggling at the time, they declined to get a better deal. So the band had, here we are talking again. This is about a band that really did well in later years, but shows that once again the struggles that these bands have to go through to get heard and to get a label, and to get a label that actually takes care of them, because they,
music business is not an easy business.
No, not at all. And you're definitely, it looks great because you get big lights and the glam and all that stuff, but when you get right down to it, you really got to struggle. And unless you're coming in with a name, and you had to make that name somehow, you're going to struggle to get to that point. And so many bands don't make it that deserve to make it, but you end up not making it, and then you end up wondering, why didn't this band make it? Well, it's because it's one of the hardest businesses to actually be in. First, you got to spend all this time learning your craft, and then you get up on the stage and you got to get people to listen to your music. It's a tough business, man. What are your or did you never like this band, right? You weren't a big fan.
I was never into heavy metal.
Yeah.
So I did dislike them. I didn't like the genre. So
Yeah.
it's hard for me to say I dislike somebody, because I just didn't get it. It wasn't something that I liked.
Yeah. And
now I came to appreciate Ozzy in this TV show. Then
yes.
I came to appreciate Ozzy.
Yeah, I always wondered whether that was a real, when you hear him talk and stuff, and you can't understand what he's saying. I always thought, is he drunk? Is he high? Why is that? But that's just the way he talks.
That's just the way he talks.
And I don't think he's the most educated guy in the world, but it didn't matter because he.
Well, they grew up in a factory farm.
Yeah.
Well, not Osborne, but Judas Priest.
Yeah.
They all grew up in a Birmingham, a factory farm.
Yeah.
And education wasn't big.
Yeah. And that they said that in Black Sabbath too. I mean, we heard that in Black Sabbath, that they were in that type of industrial town or
environment,
and that I'm pretty sure that they did not graduate. So
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So in this band, though, this is a little bit. Well, it's weird because I didn't think that Judas Priest was around as long as they were. First time I heard them was 81, 80, something like that. And, I didn't get it back then. But the bands I was in, they wanted to do their music, so I had to learn it. But, as the big thing with this band, though, is, as always, you got egos involved. And KK Downing and the other guitarists were constantly at each other's,
trying to outdo each other.
Yeah, and when KK left the band, it may have. It was probably because that he wasn't getting what he wanted. He wanted more. And he wanted to stop button heads with the other guy. I forget who the other guy was though. Got to think of who it was. It was the other guitarist. Where was it? Let's see here. Well, it'd be somewhere around here. This is around when I started listening. Well, when I heard the first time from them was Sin After Sin, Stained Glass, and Killing Machine, 77 to 79. Somewhere around there is the first time I heard of them. I don't think they were big in the U.S. in the beginning, so and they were touring with some pretty big bands too. It was
Yeah, they toured with big bands, but they never could break in the United States.
right. And I remember that the one concert my sister went to was in City Island. They were playing there, I think, with Def Leppard, I want to say, and I think it was another band, may have been Metallica or one of those really big bands. But it was like if you were to put that on today, I would go see it. That's how. But back then, I wasn't interested because it just didn't really. That kind of music did not register with me at that point. Unleashed in the East was when I started listening to them. And okay, so it says in. Oh, by the way, it was cool. They had Roger Glover from Deep Purple uh, was supposed to produce their next album in '79, and I found that really interesting because oh, here it is. It says Judas Priest recorded their major label album debut. Now, keep in mind they started in the early '70s. This was '77 that they got a major label interested in them. Sin After Sin in January '77 at the Who's Rampart Studios with Deep Purple bassist Robert Glover as a producer. Moore left during the album's sessions and was replaced by session drummer Simon Phillips. The album features significant developments in the heavy metal technique. Particularly, it was the use of the double kick drumming. Do you know what that is?
No.
What it is okay. So in a regular drum set, you have one hi-hat kick or foot button or pedal that is a hi-hat, and then you have one for the bass drum. Well, double bass, you actually have two bass drum kicks, or you'll have one that plays both of them. It depends if you're, depends on what setup you have. But some of the drums back then, you hear a lot of with the drums, with the bass drums, and they do that with two kick drums instead of, because a lot of times they have double bass drums. If you take a look at like Van Halen, take a look at the front of the Van Halen set, you'll see two bass drums on the front. And what they do is they either have 2 feet that play one each drum, or you have one that plays both of them. It's time to play. It's time to kick. When you kick the one drum, it'll do boom boom instead of the harder you hit it, it'll play faster and all that stuff. It's really that's when double bass drums was a big thing. So I don't think I've ever had anybody with any double bass. I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever played with anybody with double bass drums, but it was really a neat sound because you got that thunder and you got that big sound. So it says here that in '77 they had a pop metal version of Diamonds and Rust by folk singer Joan Baez. Sin After Sin appeared in '77. It was Judas Priest under a major label, CBS. The says in the first 11 consecutive albums to be certified or platinum by the Recording Industry Association of America. That's RIAA. Phillips declined to become a permanent member of Judas Priest, so the band hired Les McKay, and Killing Machine released in America as Hellbent for Leather That's one of their big hits. Binks credited for co-writing Beyond the Realms of Death, and now regarded as the band's one of the band's classics. And he was a technically skilled drummer in addition to his added a dexterous edge to the band's sound. I don't know what that means exactly. But Unleashed in the East was their first really big album, I think. So the success years.
Well, he had traces of Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin,
Yes.
Deep Purple, and
Absolutely.
the ballads.
Absolutely.
That impressed me. That impressed me.
Yeah, that's a good combination of stuff too.
Yeah, it is.
That's the thing that's cool about this band is this band was, they originally had that too, but when they came out with the singer that could sing this highest ranges, that's the thing that caught me was that the singer could do things that other singers couldn't do, and I really appreciated that more than anything. But the biggest thing about this was that the singer was afraid of letting anyone know anything about him. He was so concerned about keeping his sexuality quiet. And
That was the sad thing about this whole thing I watched.
but in that whole
So he
generation,
couldn't come out, but he was in the wrong genre.
yeah. I mean, Boy George came out with it. I mean, he didn't actually say he was gay, but everyone knew he was gay. But Rob Halford, I wouldn't have guessed it. But once you think about the names of the songs that he was singing, he was putting pretty strong hints at it. Songs like Grinder and a couple other songs, it was pretty evident that he was leaning a little one way or the other. And but it really, I would imagine that would be a difficult thing, especially when all your bandmates are with all these girls.
Hardy.
Yeah,
And
and you're just sitting back and saying, you know.
And then his friend, partner, killed himself.
Yeah, that would mess up anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of and it's really kind of cool that when he did actually come out, when he came out and actually, no one cared. They were there for the music, and that's cool. And I loved it when they came out with the motorcycles and stuff like that, and that was kind of cool. But I really thought the band,
It was all leather all the time.
yes, hell bent for leather. When they played the US Festival, I mean, that was kind of neat too because they were playing with some other heavier rock bands. But as far as I'm concerned, they're probably, I would say, probably one of the best heavy rock bands out there. Because I really came to really enjoy their stuff, especially things like they did. Well, I've done Living After Midnight. I've done You've Got Another Thing Coming. I've done Green Manalishi. Green Manalishi is kind of funny because that's actually a song that was put out by Stevie Nicks band, Fleetwood Mac. That was put out before Stevie Nicks joined the band, but it was it's funny to think of that because when you hear the two versions side by side, you're saying, really? This is the same song? But I like both versions. I like the Fleetwood Mac version for one reason. I like the Judas Priest version because it's a lot more hip. But I like them both. I do either version and be happy with it. But yeah,
then they go on trial.
Oh, they did that. I'm trying to think. That was probably, what year was that? That was in the 90s though, right?
90s.
Well, before that though, 85, Rob OD'd and he signed into a rehab. 86, he went on tour. Then 9 months later, Rob and his boy. That's when Rob and his boyfriend when Jimmy killed himself in 9 months after they went on tour in '86. So you mentioned that, and then they added guitar synthesizers and uh, um, right around that time too. But in you were where were you at? You were in. Oh, he also drove the motorcycles on stage in '88. So you said about
That's it.
what's that?
The subliminal trial.
Yeah.
The message
Yeah,
strong.
here
Yeah.
we go. Yeah, here it is. In 1990, they were the subject of a civil action lawsuit. That's the thing. I thought that was so much a waste of time. When they say, "Oh, they killed themselves because your music." No, people don't want to take responsibility, and the kid killed himself with a 12 gauge shotgun. It's not like it was an accident. It's not like that they said kill yourself, and then he killed himself. I mean, I just wish that parents would let take responsibility for their children doing what they do. You know, um, they consumed alcohol. Uh, I don't I don't know how much marijuana would have to do with it. I would think it had to do a lot more with the alcohol than marijuana, or if they had other harder drugs. But that it just was just a shame that. I mean, they wasted a lot of money and time. I know they were searching for an answer for why their kids killed themselves, but I hate when they place it on music. If they hadn't listened to that song, they would have listened to another song. Or when you're in that state of mind, you can't blame it on a band for what you're doing. You know, they were 20 years old.
Well, all I would say is it didn't help that they spent their suicide rate outside of the game.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Uh,
and they were 20 and 18.
it is for 2018.
Yeah. I don't understand it, but that's when when a lot of kids kill themselves. I would imagine, because you're at a very confused part of your life. But to say that music caused them to do it, that I don't know. That's just too much. The family, it says that, let's see here, they sued Judas Priest and members, alleging that the band had embedded subliminal messages such as "try suicide," "do it," "let's be dead." It takes a special confused person to really kill themselves over things like that, and they never did that. They were saying that about the Beatles too. How many times did the Beatles get in trouble for stuff that was like "Paul is dead" or something like that? What was it? It was yeah.
Paul is dead.
And he seems to be the one that's still alive.
Yeah, that's in them all.
Yeah. So, but that's what I hate about people that take it to the extreme, because it's just ridiculous. Vance's parents claimed that their son had been troubled for a long time prior to the suicide pact, but recently changed for the better and had re-embraced the family's Christian faith before the garbage music of Judas Priest had again led him astray. How about better parenting? That would do it.
Better parenting would do it.
Yeah.
Like maybe figure out what your kid's thinking.
Yeah. And maybe pay attention to the signs that maybe were going around at the time. I don't know. I just hate the idea that people want to blame it on something else other than the person that has the problem. And I feel bad that the person killed themselves, but it doesn't happen overnight. It happens. There's lots of things that are going on in their head that lead them to that. But anyway, so do you now? When was you were? Are you you're not a fan of theirs at all, right?
Fan's the wrong word. I know who they are. It's just it's not my style.
Yeah,
That's all.
yeah. Um,
I thought they were a good band. I just didn't like them.
yeah, I mean, they were very
I thought
tight.
they were talented.
They were,
I thought they were talented.
and
Good musicians.
yes, and KK. It's funny because when I used to watch them on MTV back in those days, I loved how the guitarists would like play together, and here it turns out that they were always being trying to outdo each other, and I thought they were doing it because they were just trying to be like a together band, but instead it's just the opposite. They were just always trying to outdo each other, and the guy that was in charge always pushed KK out, and then KK ended up leaving the band, and they replaced him. But it was cool that they interviewed him and talked to him a lot in that show. So you got to hear him talk about the different aspects of the band, and it was interesting to hear Rob Halford talk about different things too. So in '88, interview on MTV, Rob Halford came out as gay. Um, I don't think anybody was real surprised except Rob. Rob Halford was surprised that that everybody didn't hate him. Uh, and now it would be like a swan song if someone came out, that said that they were gay because nobody cares anymore. Well, not nobody. I shouldn't say nobody, but a lot of people don't care. So, and I always liked the different outfits he came out in, the leather and all that stuff, and I actually wear leather when I play too. Doesn't mean I'm gay. Doesn't mean I'm not.
I guess we'll never know.
Just means I like leather. Oh man. Let's see what else we want to talk about. Let's see here. They have gone a long time as a band, even though they've changed a lot of numbers. They had a 50th reunion. I mean, that's crazy. 50 years with a band. I couldn't imagine playing in a band for 50. I haven't even played for 50 years yet, but it's crazy to think that band's been around that long. But let's see. It says here in 2019, Judas Priest's European tour with Ozzy Osbourne was canceled because Osbourne experienced severe upper respiratory infection. The band later confirmed the tour was rescheduled for 2020. And then it says there was a new studio album that was supposed to come out in, let's see here. There's an interview in 2019. Tipton had already started composing the riffs, and Ian Hill said the band had some strong ideas that were left out on the Firepower album, which we never got around to completing, so it's very much in the cards. The writing sessions began in 2020. It says here, said a month's worth of songs were written prior to the lockdown of COVID. Ken and I were writing a lot of stuff during then too. It just was a great time to write because there was nothing else you could do. You're stuck at home and
Nothing else to do.
yeah. And it says here, Judas Priest was originally scheduled to embark on 50 Heavy Metal Years Tour 2020, but because of COVID, it didn't happen. And it says 2021, they were headlined Bloodstock Open Air Festival once again, rejoined by Tipton for an encore of songs as the tour began in September 8th. The remainder of the U.S. tour was postponed and rescheduled with Queensryche as their support band. Yeah, that's one thing that's kind of interesting to think about. When you have these bands all together for their anniversaries, who's the headliner? Because you got all these bands, I mean, that are pretty big bands and that have made it in their own. It's just funny to think who is the headliner. So, but anyway, I like the band, and I would. There's an upcoming 20th studio album supposedly In March of 2025 interview with Power of Metal, Faulkner said the band began talks of the next album, with him and the drummer Scott Travis hoping to begin work in 2026. Former drummer Les Binks died at the age of 73. All these guys got to be up there too. I mean, all these guys got to be in their late 60s or higher. So yeah, it's wild to think about. But they had some good songs. They definitely had some good songs. You have anything else you want to add to it?
We went through a lot.
Yeah.
But again, it's either drug and alcohol or egos.
Or both.
That destroy these bands.
Yes. Or lack of money coming in.
Or lack of money.
And we think, it's the thing is, we think these guys must be making. You think they sell out a 40,000 seat stadium and stuff. You think they're making all kinds of money, but they're not. A lot of times they're not. They're
the producers and the record companies are making all that.
Yeah, and they aren't making money on their albums because they have to make a certain amount to make money back on the album. And a lot of these albums, unless they're going platinum and stuff, they're probably not making the numbers they need to make. That's a sad thing, is that you end up seeing a lot of this. But this band, they were around for a long time and still apparently out there doing things. So it's good to know that they're out there doing it. I wish I could say the same thing with some semblance of making a success out of myself, but these guys did it. These guys got to play the big stadiums and got to be out there and seeing what that life's like. I don't know if I'd like being on the road like that, but I'd like to try it. I'd love to say that I did it. And even if I only played in front of a stadium a handful of times, that would be cool, because that's a goal that I've never achieved. But we still got time. There still may happen.
We're still happen.
So yeah, they were good. I'm glad we got to do them. They definitely are worthy of our attention. So we'll have to figure out who the next one is. But we've covered a lot of those guys. There's other. Once we get done with that, there's other series like that. There's one on heavy metal, only heavy metal stuff that is like that, and we can also.
Yeah, we can do that too.
Yeah.
We'll do that too.
And sometimes that series, by the way, we might be able to pick up the other two seasons, because that was made by a company called Real something, and I think they have let me find it for you, but I think we can actually do the first, because there were a lot of good bands in that first two series.
First two series.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll have to find it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot. I think the Beatles are on the first. I think the Beatles might have been the first episode. We still got to do. What? No, we did Michael Jackson already, right?
Yeah, we did that.
Okay. Well, we'll find other ones we can do. So, all right. You satisfied with that?
I'm satisfied with that.
All right. We'll move on to the next thing. Do you have anything else you want to talk about on your side?
Yeah, I want to just give a couple minutes to the flood.
Okay.
Texas.
Actually, that's one of the things I had to talk about.
We'll bring it up.
Let me see here. I have it here somewhere. Texas. Oh, wait, what's this? Nope, that's not it. That's not it. Where's that? I know I grabbed it somewhere along the way. Oh, wait a minute. Let's see. All right, here it is. Death toll from the Texas floods rises to 104 people. I don't know if this is the current one. At least
it's 109. Yeah.
Okay, and at least 28 children. It says devastation in the Texas floods. I mean, I didn't even see this one coming. This just came out of nowhere. Um,
Well, let me give you some stats
okay, go ahead.
that I got before we went on. 109 dead, 87 in Kerr County alone. 27 campers out of 750 children, 27 are dead.
Wow,
5 campers are still missing. 1 counselor is still missing.
wow.
161 people are still unaccounted for. There were 160 air rescues, and dispatch junior of Scott Busby, the petty officer of the Coast Guard, he saved 165 people himself.
Wow, that's
He's a
crazy.
swimmer. He's a swimmer. And it was his first non-training mission. He
Wow,
had been training for 6 months, and it was his first non-training mission. He's probably going to get a medal in Trump.
wow. How many people did you say? How many?
That river rose, what?
How many people?
165 himself.
Wow. How many people did you say were dead though?
109
I got 110 in this
so far.
article.
Well, then it just went up.
Yeah, it probably did. It probably did. Okay, go ahead.
The river rose 26 feet in 45 minutes.
Wow.
The river crested 32 feet was the highest the river's ever been. That time it was 37 feet 52 inches.
Wow. Jeez. Do you remember the 72?
So,
do you remember the 72 flood out here? 72.
Yeah, very well.
It makes that look like nothing.
It makes it look like nothing.
Yeah, because I
There
remember.
were 850 people saved overall, and 230 animals are being sheltered now
Wow.
because they lost their owners.
Wow.
But just imagine how many other animals were killed.
Jeez.
Now, here's the one thing I want to leave your people with.
Yeah.
Our people with. Kerr County, which is the hardest hit one with the camp, Kerr County requested $1 million from the state of Texas for a new updated flood alert science. They did it for a decade, since 2016.
Wow.
And the government of Texas turned them down. If they would have had the new system, a lot less people would have died.
Wow. Oh, I can't imagine.
How would you like to be the people that turned them down?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's devastating. That's just a lot of people that have been killed for what could have been saved.
They could have saved a lot of these people if the sirens would have gone off.
Wow.
The sirens that they had went off in the government offices, but they didn't go off to the people outside. And the water rose so fast that nobody could tell anybody what to do.
And how deep did it go?
26 feet above flood stage
That's crazy.
in 45 minutes.
Wow. And was it just rain, or what was the
There
reason?
was torrential thunderstorms stopped right over that area.
Oh. Wow.
And it's a flood-prone area anyway.
Yeah.
But it was a convergence of bad things all at once.
Wow.
It's not a flood of 100 years. It's a flood of 500 years.
Wow.
And did you hear the father that lost twins? They were found with their fingers interlocked with each other.
Oh, wow. That's going to be heartbreaking.
That's heartbreaking. That's heartbreaking.
That's just.
I mean, I couldn't even stand to lose a dog. I couldn't even stand to lose one of my dogs to a flood,
Right.
let alone a set of twins.
Yeah. Jeez.
Did you know the camp director of Fort Majestic died trying to save people?
That's crazy.
He was 71. He couldn't swim probably anymore.
And the water, I'm sure, was rushing like crazy too, because I mean, when you have,
The water was
you know,
incredibly fast, and
and
all the debris, you get caught in all that debris.
yeah, that's crazy. I feel bad for those people. I'm thankful that I'm up on a hill,
Yeah,
because if it hits me, we're all gone. Oh, man. I remember, one of the things about where I live is that you know where I live, but there's only really
I
one
know
way.
exactly where you live.
There's really only one way in and one way out. When I used to have to work, there were times when I couldn't leave, or I couldn't go to work because I was flooded in. I didn't have flood, but the roads were flooded so that I couldn't leave,
Flooded.
and to go to work any other way, it took, like, if I went down Marysville, which would be one of the alternatives, it took me 5 hours to go 10 miles from here to work, and so
Because everybody else is going
yeah,
that way.
and so I tried to go the other way, which would be go north and then come down south. It took me like 4 or 5 hours to go that way too, because it's just going the opposite direction. Uh, and so just the next time I just said I'm not going to even try, because it's just, by the time I get in there, I've got
Yeah,
3 hours.
going and coming home.
Yeah, so it's just horrible. But yeah, got when we had rain there that bad, we couldn't go down 322. It was flooded, and you couldn't go up because the other side was flooded too. So we were stuck like in a short little area. Uh, but you know, I'm sure there's areas like that all over the world. But it was horrible when it was my turn. I was lucky
Yeah.
enough that it didn't kill anything in mine. I just have trees that like to jump into my yard and destroy my yard. I'll take them over death anytime. So yeah, it's. I mean, the pictures are devastating. Looking at this stuff, and you think, wow,
It's the biggest death toll by a flood in the United States.
it's crazy. Here's a cabin at Camp Mystic. Uh, at least 20 girls went missing after this flash flooding, and it's all mud inside this little campground. I can't even imagine like getting stuck in there, and it just would be, what a way to die. You know, not thinking that would be, oh, there's some more devastation. Wow, that's crazy. Wow, just oh, it's crazy. Oh, it's sad. It said here, what's that say? It says 26 feet in 45 minutes. Could you? That's really a lot of water. That's crazy. And it went out at 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. So you get no
Yep.
chance to get out of there.
No warning, no nothing.
Jeez.
Make sure you find it, and radio, the National Weather Service radio.
Yep.
Make sure you have one.
Jeez. That's crazy. Mother Nature still wins in all cases. Can't win that one. Wow. I'm very thankful I'm not in those areas. Oh wow, here's that. Jeez. Wow, these poor people. Well, they're probably gonna put the things in now. Oh wow, Chelsea Clinton. Hey, how old do you think she is?
Chelsea's probably about 35.
She's 45.
45, really?
45, yeah, that's what it says. Wow. Well, you think about her. Her father was. When was he in the presidency? He was in '90s. Was he in '90s or before?
Yeah, it was in the 80s.
'80s. Yeah, that's. Oh man, uh, that's crazy. Anyway, all right. Um, got anything else that you want on this?
Hey, let me just talk about Elvis for a second. Here's some things I want you to ask me for me. Did Elvis ever perform out of the United States?
I'm gonna say no.
You're correct. He never
I
performed out of
never
the United
like
States.
I saw
What
he
was his,
he was in Hawaii. I remember that one, but I never really thought about that until you just brought it up. But I've never seen an album from another country. I've never seen a live performance. Yeah,
pictures of him? Yeah, never had a picture of him.
yeah.
What was his natural hair color?
Oh, I'm guessing it wasn't black.
It was blonde.
Was it
Blonde.
really?
He used shoe polish to color his hair.
Wow,
Yes.
I didn't know that. Wow.
How many songs did he write? How many songs did he write?
Did he write himself? You're not talking about stuff he stole from other
Yes.
people. Ooh. I'm going to say zero.
That's correct. He
Really?
never wrote one
Oh,
song.
I just guessed there. I didn't know.
He's, no, no, no. He also had several karate black belts.
Yes, that I knew about.
You knew that?
Yeah, I
You
knew
knew
about that.
about that.
And I
He
knew
was
that.
on the most popular. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that songs that he performed, most of them were blues songs that were written like way before he was even born. He just redid them as his own.
As a rock. Yeah. Stolen.
He stole them from
Um,
gospel churches and stuff like that. The one movie that I saw that was really good was where Tom Hanks played Colonel Parker, and it was really good. It showed Tom Hanks in a very bad light, or Colonel Parker in a bad light. How he um, used his he made a lot more money than any manager makes. He got half or more of Elvis's money, and he was pretty corrupt. So yeah, I liked Elvis. He was one of my
doesn't that seem inconsistent? Yeah.
yeah.
He was the most popular stamp ever.
I believe that.
Commemorative stamp was the most popular.
Do you realize he made he?
And lastly,
Yeah, go ahead.
but
Oh, I was
no, go
just gonna
ahead.
say he's the one that made me want to be a rock star. He was the first guy
Elvis.
that I heard, and my mom had all his albums, so like I listened to him all the time, and I wanted to be that guy. I just wanted, he was the coolest guy out there, and I wanted to do that. I wanted to be that guy. But I wanted to live longer than he did.
Yes. I hope I die better than he did.
Yes, that too. I want to make sure that if I die, I'm going to pay someone to make sure that I look that I don't die in a compromising position.
Hey, he did have money though, because he bought Franklin Delano Roosevelt's presidential yacht.
Oh, okay,
So
yeah,
he did have money.
and he still has money. I mean, his well, let's see, his daughter's dead now,
His
so
kids have money.
yeah, his grandchildren have money,
Grandkids.
and his ex-wife Priscilla still has money. So yeah, that's crazy. He would have been in his he would have been almost 90 by now. So
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I definitely idolized that guy. I thought, man, he can be a singer and he can be a movie star and he can do all this stuff. But could he do a professional wrestling show? That's the question.
No, he couldn't. And see, that's what sets you to apart.
That's right. That and the billions of dollars.
Yeah, well, that too. But that goes unsaid.
Yeah, well, except I said it already. So, all right. What else you got? You got anything else?
I bet you he'd own. I bet you he'd own. I bet you he'd own more Tesla stock than me.
Whoa. I don't know. He'd be, well, it is American made, you know. One of the few cars out there
Yeah.
American made from top to bottom.
Pure and 100% American.
Yes, that's why I love it. Because you know, when I was a kid, my dad said it's got to be American made. Don't buy any of that cheap foreign stuff. And the whole time he was alive, I didn't have a cheap American or cheap foreign car. When he died, Nancy I was with Nancy, and she had a Honda, and so I drove that, and I thought, man, Dad would kill me if he knew that I, you know, that I did that. And then I had three Toyotas. I had Priuses, and I thought Dad would hate that I have Priuses. And a lot of people made fun of me for having a Prius anyway, but I was getting 40 to 50 miles a gallon, and they were paying a lot more for their gas. But he'd be proud of me because I have a Tesla, because that's an American-made car. So I'm back on the American-made kick, and I own 2 Teslas now.
You're back on the American.
That's right. I have 2 Teslas and a Prius. So you still have a Prius. But anyway, all right. You got anything else?
No, let's move
Okay. ICE agents shutting down a children's camp declared absolutely outrageous. This world is so crazy. They go to a children's camp. Wait a minute, it's not opening. Oh, now it's opening. Come on, open up the rest of the way. There we go. Federal authorities descended upon a park where children were playing in California on Monday to conduct enforcement operations. Dozens.
I have no idea.
In tactical gear, heavily armed and dressed in military-style uniforms, staged in no, I'm serious. Staged in what seemed to be an immigration enforcement action, trailing swift condemnation from Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, who rushed to the scene in response. What I saw in the park today looked like a city under siege, under armed occupation. We don't comment on ongoing enforcement operations. And here they are. They're in their full tactical gear. They have, here's a big military vehicle right there. just crazy. Why? I mean, these are kids. It says roughly 100 federal immigration enforcement agents, including Border Patrol and other law enforcement officers in armed vehicles, gathered along a perimeter of MacArthur Park in Los Angeles Westlake area in a show of force as the region marks 6 months since the Eaton and Palisades fires began. The area is often called Ellis Island of West Coast for its role in the community hub and largely immigrant neighborhood of Los Angeles. I mean, kids. These are kids. Why do we need all this? This is just ridiculous stuff. I can't even imagine whose call it was.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad at trying the radical, vicious, violent immigrants out here, but don't go and feed the kids.
That's what I'm saying. It's like we're just overkill here. There's no reason to do that. The park was left nearly deserted after word of a possible raid spread through the community. Bass said she stopped her car on the way to City Hall to watch as officers on horseback and soldiers in tactical gear passed by a playground where children at a summer camp were hurried indoors. I don't know. I realize there are a lot of people here that shouldn't be here, but do we really have to be that, do we have to I thought the Army wasn't allowed to do things like this. I thought it was really, I thought this was somebody else's duty, you know?
Well, it's not the U.S. Army. It's government agency, but it's not the Army.
Well, okay, it does say police on there, on his tactical outfit. But he's got tear gas, he's got all kinds of stuff on him, and it just seems stupid. There's got to be better ways. Newsom's really upset about it. So, I mean, I understand that we want to get.
I don't agree. I don't agree with Newsom, but I agree with him on this.
Yeah, same here. All right. So a 27-year-old gunman was killed after opening fire at the U.S. Border Patrol in Texas. And, oops, wrong button. Nope, that's not going to work. Push the wrong button. Hold on. Here we go. Now, I don't think I would go after. I wouldn't have an assault rifle at the Border Patrol facility. You might as well just shoot yourself. I mean, but yeah, this is a man with an assault rifle fired dozens of rounds at federal agents and a U.S. Border Patrol facility in Texas, injuring a police officer before authorities shot and killed him. I mean, you have to have a death wish to do that. He was.
No, it's death by.
Yeah.
It's death by police officer.
Yeah. Authorities identified.
Suicide by police officer.
Right. Identified the shooter as Ryan Luis Mosquito, believed to be 27, who said shot at agents exiting the building, which is near the U.S.-Mexico border. McAllen Police Chief Victor Rodriguez said that he had a utility vest in addition to the rifle, and the officers returned fire. Hours before the attack, Mosquito's father was stopped by the Weslaco police around 2:30 a.m. for a traffic violation, according to the police spokesperson. The father told police he was looking for his son, who said that he had psychological issues and was carrying weapons in his car. Police said that the two-door sedan that Mosquito drove to the facility had letters painted, possibly in Latin, on the driver's door, which means what it means or whether or not it's an underlying reason for him being here, I do not know. Rodriguez said about the graffiti. But still, the guy ended up shooting a 10-year veteran. It was struck in the knee, and it was unclear if the injury was shrapnel or a bullet, but the police did end up killing the guy. So I don't know. Just I don't get it. But yeah, those people are out there. Prime Day began today, and it goes through Friday.
Yes, national holiday.
Yeah.
National holiday.
And they're extending 4 days for the first time. Shoppers are expected to spend. How much do you think they're expected to spend?
Millions. Well, I'm not sure.
$24 billion.
$24 billion.
That's just a crazy thing. $24 billion. They're expecting it'll be a 24% increase from last year. And wow, that's I mean, people have money right now. They won't have it after the tariffs go into effect. So
after Prime.
Yeah, so buy your stuff while you can. I don't know. That's crazy. But yeah, okay, so that's that. And then we have the mushroom murders. Have you heard about the mushroom murders?
No.
Okay, this happened in Australia. An Australian woman was convicted yesterday of murdering 3 relatives and attempting to murder a 4th using one of the world's deadliest mushrooms. Erin Patterson, a mother of 2 who faces a potential life sentence, hosted her estranged husband's parents, uncle, and aunt for a home-cooked meal July 2023. She served beef Wellington laced with death cap mushrooms, which contain amatoxins that cause organ failure and account for 90% of mushroom poisoning deaths. Her in-laws and husband's aunt died within a week. The uncle survived and testified as one of 50 witnesses. Prosecutors didn't specify a motive during the 9-week trial, but suggested family tensions. Evidence included Patterson's search history, and death cap mushroom residue in the food dehydrator she initially denied owning. Testifying in her own defense, Patterson insisted the deaths were an accident. So I kind of think she just might have been knowing that was going to happen. Man, why? Just get out of the area. I mean, just stay away from them. Why kill them? Just crazy. There is now a I don't know what you want to call it, a movement. Let's call it a movement, for lack of a better word. Americans save a record 7.7% of their paychecks for retirement. That's a new level. While savings rates are up, so are the number of Americans tapping their 401ks for emergencies, and I see that happening around me. I know people that have tapped their retirements. Americans set aside an all-time high portion of their paycheck in their 401ks last year, according to Vanguard's America Saves report, and it's on average 7.7%. So that's pretty high. So
they saved it, but they're getting ready to tap.
Well, unfortunately, that's the case. But when you kick in a certain amount, your employer kicks in more too. And that's what I always did, was I always saved more than, like, if you had to save 10%, I would save 15. I get the match with the company, plus I get the extra that I put in there. And that makes a difference. That little difference over 30 years makes a difference. So that's a good thing. Let's see here. Did you know since we had the 4th of July, do you know the background for the Star Spangled Banner?
Mm.
Star Spangled Banner is a national anthem for the United States. The song is based on a poem written by Francis Scott Key in 1814 during the War of 1812, and borrows the melody from a popular 18th century British song. Over the century, after its composition, it became the U.S. national anthem and is regularly performed at sporting events. Since its adoption by the government, its style and substance has been continuously reinvented and reinterpreted. The rocket's red glare. Before he wrote the anthem, Francis Scott Key worked as. Do you know what he did before he? Do you know what his occupation was? He was from Frederick, Maryland. He was a lawyer in Frederick, Maryland, and Washington, D.C., and he served in the military during the War of 1812, initially opposing it. In 1814, Key visited a British warship on the Patapsco River outside Baltimore to negotiate the release of American prisoners. There he witnessed the British attack on Fort McHenry, about 8 miles away. Watching the Americans hold off the British for 25 hours. At the end of the battle, Key could see the Star Spangled Banner, the flag commissioned at Fort McHenry. Key wrote poetry in his spare time and jotted the experience down while still on board the warship. Later, he fine-tuned the draft at a tavern in Baltimore in 4 stanzas that followed the familiar melody. John Stafford Smith's sexually suggestive The Anacreonic Song, also known as the Anacreonic in Heaven. The week after Key wrote the poem, it was published in the Baltimore Patriot newspaper as Defense of Fort McHenry. Soon it would be printed in papers across the U.S. Eventually, its name changed to the more recognizable Star-Spangled Banner. And in the following century, the Star-Spangled Banner grew popular with Americans through the country. Though the country lacked an official anthem, the first 8 Summer Olympic Games in 1916, Woodrow Wilson signed an executive order that said the song should be played when appropriate. The song is often played at the start of the amateur and professional sports games, a tradition that historians say began during the Civil War, but it became more popular during World War I. The 7th inning stretch of the first game of the 1918 World Series, a band started an impromptu version. Red Sox player Fred Thomas, on leave from the Navy, turned to salute the flag, and the crowd followed his lead. In 1931, President Herbert Hoover approved a bill that finally designated it as the national anthem. Though the anthem is still based on the core of Key's poem, most performances only include the first 4 stanzas. Scholars suggest this is due to the country's change of attitudes towards the British and slavery. It became an American tradition for artists to put their spin on the anthem when performing it. Some legendary performances include Whitney Houston in 1991 Super Bowl, Marvin Gaye at the 1983 NBA All-Star Game, of course, Roseanne. Didn't she do that? Didn't she do that at a baseball game or something and got booed? And then it says
She did it, she did it on purpose.
Yeah, but nobody enjoyed that. The song's vaulted place in the culture has also provided an opportunity for artists, athletes, and citizens to protest aspects of the U.S. policy, including Tommy Smith's and John Carlos' raised fist at the 1968 Olympics, Jimi Hendrix's dissonant performance of the song during the Vietnam War, Colin Kaepernick's repeated kneeling through the 2016 and 2017 NFL seasons. Despite the controversies, most Americans say they would not prefer a different anthem. For them, the Star-Spangled Banner still holds up after 200 years. So there you go. That's the history of the Star-Spangled Banner. Key claimed to be opposed to slavery in principle, though he owned slaves, as opposed to abolition. His anti-slavery work was limited to the American Colonization Society, which believed slaves should be freed and returned to Africa. Later, he outright opposed the anti-slavery movement, complicating his lyrics espousing freedom. So, it's interesting.
It was a very complicated poem.
Yes. The Boston police warned Stravinsky about his Star-Spangled Banner. There's no national standard for arranging the national anthem, though it can be a different story on the state level. Conductor Igor Stravinsky learned in 1944 when the police commissioner visited his dressing room to warn him about Massachusetts law against tampering with national property. So he had to play it. He was supposed to play it exactly the way it was. There's some crazy people out there. There's a 5th verse to the anthem, too, by the way. Francis Scott Key's version had 4 verses, though only one is usually performed. American poet Oliver Wendell Holmes wrote a 5th verse during the Civil War, uh, talking about the country's internal division. It may not be officially recognized edition, but it is an interesting uh, wrinkle to the legendary song. Let's see what the fifth one was. I have it right here somewhere. If it ever pops up. Oh, they're actually going to sing it now. I don't want. Oh, here it is. So this is the fifth verse. Where while our land is illumined with liberty's smile, if a foe within strike a blow at her glory, down, down with the traitor that dares to defile the flag of her stars and the page of her story. By the millions unchained who our birthright have gained, we will keep our bright blazon forever unstained, and the star-spangled banner in triumph shall wave, while the land of the free is the home of the brave. So there you go. There's the unknown verse. You probably never knew there was one. I never knew there was one. So yeah. So that's my tribute to the Star Spangled Banner. I mean, that stuff is interesting, and the time was definitely different back then. The world was at a battle amongst itself, and so I just found that pretty cool. Stuff I never knew. Let's see, what do we got here? Oh, we're getting down there. Oh, this is interesting. You know, we talked about 3 Mile Island a while ago, that Facebook or Meta wanted to run it. Remember that?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's not going to happen. What is going to happen, this is crazy. Microsoft describes 3 Mile Island plant as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So now they're going after it. We don't need it. We don't need to start that thing up again. Oh man. Why can't they just let it go? I mean, it already melted down once. We don't need it to melt down again. There's got to be better electric than nuclear power, right? I mean, solar. Let's use solar.
Well, the needs for AI outweigh what you have today.
Yes. I've been learning a lot about AI on a different level than I have been, because I use it for a lot of things. But I was watching videos last night that tell you what you're doing wrong. I mean, not that I'm doing anything wrong, but I take a lot of steps to get what I need. And if you ask the right questions, you get the right answers. So that's what I've been doing, is trying to understand how to do that more efficiently. But the amount of people using AI is tremendous. And I never would have imagined, if you had told me, like, AI was around when I was still working at my last job, and it was just starting. And now where we're at, we're so far ahead of that, just a couple of years, less than 10 years. So I'm seeing a lot of things that, I mean, they're constantly updating it and constantly doing new things with it. I saw on YouTube last night, somebody went to a one-page website and they copied that one-page website, and he made a few changes on it, and he's making $20,000 or something like that a month off that one-page website. Just crazy. It's just I don't even know what to think about that. You know, um, if I was motivated, I'd be making all kinds of money, but I'm not really that motivated about that. I kind of feel like I'm at a point in life um, where I get to have fun now. So, well, here's like there's things I found by watching this. Well, this is the meta version. I'll go into my AI. There's things I found about this AI stuff. Okay, here's um, oh, we didn't talk about Chosen.
We can save it for next week. Let's both rewatch it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, while I'm on this page here, there's things about this that's really cool that I watched on this video. Like there's AI things that there are plugins, if you want to call them that, for lack of a better thing. Uh, there's things humanize your AI, fitness workouts for and diet for you can teach your AI to go through your email for you and and throw out things that are obviously junk. And there's all kinds of like things I didn't even know existed. Uh, I'm just excited about some of these things because the more I use it, the more I realize how powerful it is. And like I like to use it for a lot of different things. Like it helps write part of the show, usually the obituaries and stuff like that. But that's just a small piece of what it can do. I have the AI that takes my stuff and reads the obituary, and then so it makes the obituary, it refines the obituary. Then I take the words of the obituary and I put it into my AI uh, text to voice, and I pick my voice that I want it to use. Does that? Then I take it all and I put it together. That that thing has come a long way in just that period of time that I've been using on the show. Um, I'm finding better and easier things, but it still takes too long to do an obituary. It probably takes me 2 hours to do a 3 minute obituary because I got to catch the pictures and and put everything together. But it's getting easier. And I want to keep doing that because the amount of people I got to do another ranking. I'll put the past 6 months of things together, let you figure out which ones. You'd be surprised which ones get the best hits. I'm surprised on my own. I can't believe that some of those don't do better and some of those do a lot better than I thought they would do. So it's really fun to see what comes up, but it's also gaining us more followers. So the little videos get us out there and people see who we are and then they become subscribers. So it's good to know. um, Brian Johnson, not the AC/DC Brian Johnson, social influencer. He was the subject of a Netflix documentary. He was arrested for making terroristic threats against Joe Rogan. Man, look at him. He looks like someone that would do that. It says, it says Brian Johnson, an online influencer who calls himself Liver King, has been arrested Tuesday in Austin after he made terroristic threats against the popular podcaster Joe Rogan. Johnson, 47, is the subject of Netflix's Untold: The Liver King documentary, uh, released in May. According to the streamer's description of the film, the Liver King built an online fitness empire by devouring raw meat and promoting all natural ancestral lifestyle with the muscles to back it up, featuring interviews with the man himself, his family, his business partners, and the documentary unravels the story of Liver King's rapid rise to the internet fame and controversy and backlash once a steroid scandal came into light. So yeah, it's kind of weird to think that. Why would anybody? I just don't understand human beings. Why would you? Uh, you have this fame that is probably not warranted, and you abuse it by doing things like going after Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's got the biggest podcast probably in the world and makes money at the podcast. Someone that actually can make money at the podcast. So I don't know. Just weird that people aim at who they aim at. So I don't know. Okay, so that's that. I guess we can. I want to find something positive out of this. Maybe try to end on a positive note. That's not positive. That's not positive. Let's see. That's not positive. That's not positive. Uh, hmm. Come on, I gotta have one positive thing here. Oh, what was that one? Oh, there was something I wanted. I didn't see that. There was something positive that I wanted to talk about. Hmm. All right, here we go. Toddler becomes the youngest member of Mensa. This has got to be crap. I can't believe that this is real. I think they're changing their levels of people or something that they're going to have a. Okay, come on. Here we go. All right, here we go. Mensa welcomes the youngest ever member, Joseph Harris Burtill, a toddler from the UK who loves a challenge. 2-year-old became the youngest member of Mensa. And the thing is, I can't imagine how they can figure a 2-year-old is that this kid's probably going to be some kind of like, you know, uh, dredge on society. The exclusive club that welcomes people with an IQ of 132 or above. So Joseph was born November 23rd, 2021, and was admitted to the organization at just 2 years and 182 days. It became clear he was an exceptional little being. He rolled over at 5 weeks. His first word at 7 months. He read his first book out loud from cover to cover at 1 3/4 years. Okay, so that is kind of weird. He's learning Morse code, knows the Greek he knows the Greek alphabet, and has recently gotten interested in the periodic table. His interests are vast and varied. He's always keen and to learn more and loves a challenge. You know he's going to be a drug addict, right? His parents work at Scotland's prestigious University of St Andrews, and they told the Guinness Book of World Records they first decided to reach out to Mensa to find more support for Joseph after they were seeing how early he started reading. That is kind of pretty interesting that he was reading at almost 2. Um, geez, that's I don't know if I don't even remember when I started reading.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, if he read it 2, I guess that means he has something going for him. He's 13 days younger than the youngest female member of Mensa was. Um, American Isla McNabb was when she was admitted to the club in 2022. Um, let's see. He has by default taken the title of Britain's youngest Mensa member, topping Teddy Hobbs, who achieved it at the age of 4. Rose Harris Burtill's mother said that she hoped her son's story would help raise awareness about the unique needs of children like her son. Okay, I want to make fun of it, but I really can't because the kid probably reads better than I do. Maybe we can get him on the show. Maybe that would work. So that's a good one. We'll end on that one. That's crazy.
A little bit.
That I don't even know what to think about that. At 2. Wow. I can't even. When does a kid start talking normally? Oh, you don't have any volume?
I got it now.
Okay. At what age does a kid start talking?
My 2.5-year-old is talking,
Okay.
and she'll read 1, 2, 3, maybe count to 5 or 6.
Okay. Huh. I can't keep my
So this
attention.
kid's advanced.
I can't keep my attention on a book. The book has to move. I got to have something moving. I just, I've always been like that. I've just never really been able to, concentrate on reading. But, okay. All right. Well, I guess I'll go and finish the show and go read a book or something so I can catch up to the 2-year-old.
There you go.
All right. Oh, let's see. Go back to where is it? Where is it? There it is. Somewhere back here. That should be it. Should be the last song. Yep, that's it. All right. Well, thank you for coming on the show.